Hi, good morning. Myself Gayatri from Swastika Educonsult. Today we are going to discuss about the new 20% rule, that is the restriction in availment of input tax credit in terms of sub rule 4 of rule 36 of CGST rules 2017. Before going into the circular, we need to just recollect about the rules, the various rules of rule number 36 and 37 for the availment of input tax credit by the taxpayer. The first and foremost, the taxpayer has to possess the various documents or any of the following listed out documents for availing the input tax credit. The first one, the taxpayer has to possess the invoice issued by the registered supplier, then or the debit notes issued by the registered supplier, or the bill of entry issued by him, or the invoices issued by the input tax distributors, or the invoice issued by the supplier under the payment for the payment of GST on RCM basis, that is reverse charge. Moreover, the taxpayer has to ensure that the particulars prescribed in chapter 6 have been contained in the above said documents, and the tax has been actually paid to the government, and the goods or services are both listed out in the documents have been actually received by the taxpayer. And last but not the least, the return under section 39 GSTR 3B monthly return have been filed successfully. So when these conditions are satisfied, these eligibility criteria has been satisfied by the taxpayer, he can avail the input tax credit. Now, new sub rule 4 have been inserted to rule 36 of the CGST Act rules 2017, and it's just an insertion, and the conditions and eligibility of ITC to avail that may be availed by the recipient shall continue to be governed as per the provisions of chapter 5. The board is having this powers conferred through the section 168 subsection 1. Let's go into the circular. The circular is mainly about the criteria of 20% of availing the input tax credit, which is the restricted credit, because of the non-upload non-upload of invoices or debit notes by the suppliers, which are already been issued to the taxpayers, and the goods or services or receipt or both, and the taxpayer has paid the tax. So this restriction new rule new sub rule 4 of rule number 36 answers various WH questions like what, when, where, and by whom. Let us discuss one by one. First one, the eligible invoices and debit notes under rule 36 sub rule 4 are the invoices and debit notes on which the credit is availed after 9/10/2019, and the IGST paid in respect of import, documents issued under RCM, the credit received from ISD are not applicable. For those documents, this restriction is not applicable. The said restriction, how this said restriction has to be calculated, the second one. Second question, whether it is to be calculated supplier wise or in consolidated basis. For example, the taxpayer can have many n number of suppliers, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, etc., etc. The question here was the restriction has to be calculated on supplier wise on or a consolidated basis. The board clarifies that it has to be calculated on consolidated basis, that is for all, against all supplies whose details have been uploaded by the suppliers. Further, they have clarified that the calculation should be based on only those invoices which are eligible for ITC, which are otherwise eligible for ITC. So they have also mentioned the percentage as 20%. That is, the details have not been uploaded by the suppliers shall not exceed 20% of the eligible input tax credit available, they are mentioning. This has to be, that is, the amount of input tax credit in respect of those invoices or debit notes whose details have not been uploaded by the suppliers shall not exceed 20% of the eligible input tax credit available. The eligible input tax credit available, this is a dynamic word, and we have to understand the meaning, context of this word. The taxpayer has become eligible to avail the input tax credit which he got through the fulfillment of all the restrictions and conditions enacted by rule number 36 and 37, and he is having the set of invoices, and he's going to upload it through GSTR1, GSTR3B, and he's going to avail the input tax credit. But what the supplier has did, he didn't upload all the invoices or debit notes or whatever it may be, whatever the documents is having, only has uploaded 80% of the invoices. That is, only out of 100, he has uploaded only 80% of the invoices. For the left out 20% of the eligible invoices or debit notes which has supplied to the taxpayer, the taxpayer is left out with the burden of having self-assessment of the eligible input tax credit available. The board has fixed the criteria of 20% of the eligible input tax credit available. Let's see this with an example. That is, if the taxpayer R receives 100 invoices involving ITC of rupees 10 lakhs from various suppliers. So out of those 100 invoices, the supplier has furnished in their GSTR 1, that is only 80 invoices involving an ITC of 6 lakhs as on the due date of furnishing the returns. We all know that for the due date of filing GSTR 3B is 20th of next month, and for GSTR 1 is 11th of next month. It depends on whether they are quarterly filing or monthly filing. So on that due date, the supplier has uploaded only 80 invoices out of 100 invoices. The eligible ITC has reduced from 10 lakhs to 6 lakhs for the taxpayer. So the taxpayer has left out a burden of self-assessing. Voluntarily, he has to self-assess the left out portion of 4 lakhs. The left out portion of 4 lakhs of input tax credit, eligible input tax credit, that is this has been limited to 20% of eligible credit where invoices are uploaded. So the supplier has uploaded only 6 lakhs of 6 lakhs involving 6 lakhs of ITC. The supplier has uploaded only 80 invoices involving ITC of 6 lakhs. So if 20% is calculated for 6 lakhs, it is coming around 1,20,000. So the eligible ITC to be taken to GSTR 3B to be filed on 20th November is 6 lakhs plus this 1,20,000. That is, it is restricted to 7,20,000. And the taxpayer cannot avail the whole 10 lakhs. He can avail only 7,20,000 in the following month. Then one more interesting point arises in this. If the supplier has uploaded only 75 invoices of having ITC of 8.5 lakhs. If we apply the 20% criteria here, out of 8.5 lakhs, if we calculate 20%, it's coming around 1,70,000. Now the supplier can avail according to the rule 8.5 lakhs plus 1,70,000. That is 10 lakhs 20,000 he can avail, but it is crossing the total ITC of 10 lakhs of 100 invoices. So now the board clarifies, indirectly restricts that the ITC can be availed only up to the consolidated ITC of 10 lakhs, and the taxpayer cannot avail the 10 lakhs 20,000 ITC. The total ITC availed does not exceed the total eligible ITC. The board is clarifying. This is very important point. And how the taxpayer can avail the balance ITC of 2.8 lakhs. That is, in case 1, out of 10 lakhs, the supplier has availed only 7 lakhs, the taxpayer has availed only 7 lakhs 20,000 ITC. The remaining 2.8 lakhs, how the taxpayer can avail. No need to frighten in this case. No need of affright. The ITC will not go anywhere. The taxpayer can avail the balance of ITC of 2.8 lakhs in case the supplier upload the details of some of the invoices in the succeeding months. In the next month, he can avail the balance ITC. This is the restriction 20% criteria that the board has clarified, and in insertion of rule number 4, sub rule number 4, rule number 36. And if you have any queries or comments or suggestions, kindly share, subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.